Hello everybody. Hey there, I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody. This is home here in Panama. It's called River Valley. That's the set of buildings that we're looking at right now. So that's home. There is a French school here. There's another, I think maybe a Catholic school or something like that behind that school. All the sports facilities are outside here. There's a running track right here. This is the bike track that connects the communities. This is a developed, or a, what am I call it, a planned community. It's very, very large. It's probably about the size of a small town or so, and it's broken up into smaller communities. So River Valley, which is behind me, home, is one of those developments. And I assume that all this green space here will eventually get developed. Maybe not in the next 2 or 3 years, but maybe even like 5 years ahead. It's planned. It's a planned community. So up at the base of those hills there, you can see other townhomes. The community are condos and townhomes. And right now I'm walking to the grocery store. The grocery store is less than a mile away. I would say it's probably 1 kilometer, about 3/4 of a mile away from the house. It takes me maybe 10 minutes to get there. So that's where I'm going now. It's very convenient. It's like being back in Mom's village, but walking from Mom's house to the mercado. Although I kind of like the mercado better because, one, it's much more affordable, and the produce is brought in every day, and we use less garbage. There, if I want 4 tomatoes, I grab 3 or 4 tomatoes. There's no plastic, no packaging, no nothing. So that there's benefits to both places, and there's things that I like about both places. Here it's very peaceful. It's very clean. If you see, there's no garbage anywhere on the streets. We will run into some garbage here and there, but it's not a lot. It's usually near like one of the bus stations, the inter-community bus stop. So it's people that leave their water bottle or their juice bottle or something like that, But you don't see a ton of garbage. Also, you don't see dog shit everywhere. So people pick up their dog shit. Now, I'm sure there are some people that just let their dogs out, because there's always going to be people that are lazy and they don't pick up their dog shit. And they think, oh, well, I'll just, the dog's going to run over here in the yard anyways, stuff like that. But anyways, so as I get a little closer to the grocery store, like here's Dell. In this community, there are also corporations that are here. Dell being one of them. And then there's a lot of multinational corporations that are in the actual development, the planned community. It's got a fire station. What I haven't seen here, but that's just because I haven't looked for it, is like a clinic or a medical facility, which would be interesting. But I'm sure there will probably be some urgent care that's planned into this community for the future, or small hospital, because you have the space. The space is here. I think I did see like a physical therapist's office here. So if there's a physical therapist, there's going to be other medical people here in one of these buildings. I love these little vehicles. These little tiny ones, probably very gas efficient, very practical to move stuff. They're tiny. I mean, that thing is tiny. That is smaller than a VW bus. Probably like 2/3 of a VW bus or so. There's an airport here also, believe it or not. Little tiny airport right here. I'm gonna pass it. And the other day I saw people walking from the airport, like toward the grocery store, because I'm only about another 200 yards away from the grocery store now, 300 yards, with their little tiny day bags, carry-on luggage. So I think Chris has told me that they fly in and out of Colombia, maybe, because Colombia is really close, maybe less than an hour away, less than an hour flight. But they'll probably grow that airport, could go to Mexico. In my opinion, I don't think so. I think the strip is too short for bigger planes, so it's probably, you know, smaller planes. I'm not a airplane specialist, but you know, certain size planes, once you get to a certain size, they need longer airstrips, runways to take off and land. So just depends on the length of the strip, what kind of what size airplane can come in here. It's very green. It's early right now for me. It's about 9 a.m. and it's humid. It's warm. Most people would probably die, especially if you're used to dry or you're in the air conditioner all the time. Fortunately, hey there, are you okay? I acclimate pretty well. You know, trust me, I don't want to be out here as a salesman with a suit on or shirt and tie and all that shit. You know, as you can see, I'm in shorts. There's the airport hangars there. Inter-community buses for the workers that are probably in different corporations here in the community. What was I saying? Yeah, so I haven't really suffered with the heat here. Sure, when I'm in the house and I'm, you know, all comfortable in the air conditioner and I step outside to the humidity for the first few moments, I'm like, shit, man, that's some fucking thick humidity out there. But after, like, yeah, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so, especially if I'm moving or if I have a purpose, then it's not my focus anymore. I changed my focus, and I don't mind sweating. You know, sweat to me is a beautiful thing, actually. You know, I love to sweat. Like I said, though, I'm glad I'm not a salesman or I'm going off to a corporate job, you know, where, you know, if you're out in this humidity, you go in and out to the humidity and you sweat bullets, you know, then that's a different story. And but once you acclimate to, you know, different temperatures, it's not that bad. You know, I wouldn't want to sleep in this humidity. I mean, holy shit, that would suck. Unless you're in a hammock, you know, then yes, of course. But you know what? What's really cool is that it actually cools down at night here, pretty nice. So I think there's probably people that don't have air conditioning and they're fine. You know, they're fine, totally fine, perfectly fine. Now, what the problem is what I've come to learn over the past, I don't know, decade or so, are the places that we develop, they become heat islands. So all this concrete here, it's absorbing heat right now. And at midnight, 11 o'clock at night, that's still releasing heat, that concrete. Maybe not a lot of heat, but it's still not cool. And the buildings probably are the ones that absorb the most heat, you know. Because they're up in the air and they're multi, you know, walls thick, you know. And so that combination of the concrete on the ground and all the asphalt on parking lots and buildings, that's what makes the shit hot. So it would be wise if they maintain a lot of the green spaces, significant amount of green spaces. And not only that, but like those flat buildings up there, if people were to grow gardens on those and grow food up on those buildings, you know. Now there's a lot of, you know, progressive communities that do that. You know, they encourage people to grow, you know, lawns or gardens. I don't want to say lawns, more gardens, prairie grass, native plants on top of rooftops. You know, places like the Midwest really benefit from that because of the, you know, the native plants that are out there. And it's flat, so they can have these big, huge, massive buildings, communities, warehouses, and on top of those buildings, they could have, you know, basically, they have all the space you need to grow food, or just, you know, plants or trees or bushes, you know. But anyways, okay, so I'm getting really close to the grocery store. I've been probably walking, I don't know, 10 minutes almost. So it's probably about a 12 to 15 minute walk to the grocery store from the house. And I'm walking kind of slow right now. I love to watch these guys keep the community clean for all the guys that are out there doing yard work. You know, it's a great job that you do. It's a great service also. And there'll always be work. Always be work. So you can see long sleeve. Well, no, this gentleman has a short sleeve, but it's not very sunny right now. But you can also see that he's much darker. He's much darker than I am. But most of the guys that work out in the sun, they usually wear long sleeves and hats. Now, if I were out here myself, I would wear a big hat, big sombrero like I have in Rayon. But with the wind, sometimes that can, you know, fly off your head, and so then you have to have it strapped on your head. And maybe they don't have those here, so they wear ball caps. But you can see they're all wearing long sleeves. Now this is something I don't see here very often. A dog just walking by itself like that. You know, in Rayon, you know, 30, 40 dogs before I get to the downtown that I'll pass. Some coconuts here. Some condo buildings. Retail space. There's a pharmacy here. Some restaurants here. There was a dry cleaner, but we found out the other day that the dry cleaner is gone. You know, a lot of people look at this type of work and they don't realize that's a heavy work. You know, that machine is not that heavy, but if you're running that thing 8 hours a day, you know, 6 hours, 8 hours a day, that's a lot of freaking work. And it's a lot of work on your forearms and on your wrists, and they'll go numb. I'm sure a lot of these guys will develop carpal tunnel, you know, if they're not careful, or other ailments related to the arms and wrists, shoulders, back, maybe neck, you know. Anyways, I'm at the grocery store. I'm gonna cross now. Gonna get a couple things, a few things. It's convenient. Anyways, that's my walkabout for today.